Hi everyone, this is Killshot from the 999 Dead, and this is Walking Dead Day. We're doing Walking Dead, Michonne and RJ exit theory. We're just going to throw it out there because, a lot of our theories get intertwined into some of our other podcasts that we do because they're pretty long podcasts. So I wanted something to be a little bit more specific. I want to thank all of you guys for being here. We got an action-packed day. I'm going to just respectfully ask everybody, no spoilers for tonight's episode. This is going to be just something we talk about for the future. Now, look, we're going to talk about some rumors that are out there because that's what makes our theories and it's what makes our predictions kind of happen and take shape. But if you want to talk spoilers, let me kind of give you the menu for today. So we got this one going on 11 o'clock today. At 3 o'clock on the 999 Gaming channel, we're going to do a comic premiere. Exciting news there because it is the first issue of All Out War. A lot of fun with that. A really good issue. It's about a 10-minute read, so, just kind of pop in, hang out. I'll be there live. It's pre-recorded, so a lot of fun with that. And then for those of you just kind of aching to get the spoilers going, at 5 o'clock on the 999 Army channel, only on the 999 Army channel, we're going to do the extended spoiler chat. So you know in advance what we're going to be talking about. 8 o'clock tonight, we're going to be doing our Walking Dead countdown. And at 10:10, we will be doing our reaction video after The Walking Dead. So a lot of fun with that. Valar super chat in the house. What's up, Valar? Thank you so much. Valar says hello to 99 Army. Kill Steph, Emmy Kill, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, patrons, and of course all the super chatters that have been rocking our channels recently as well, getting their thoughts and comments in there. And you guys know how super chats roll. So I am going to stop whatever we're doing when there's a super chat and kind of divert to that topic in any of the streams that we do. So let's throw this out there because now that we've seen that Denies leaving the show, that they're going to have to write Michonne off in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And as I see Judith really start to rise and her relationship with Negan taking shape, we did mention this as a thought in a previous video, that Michonne will probably go look for Rick and find out what happened with him. RJ, does anybody here, just be honest, does anybody here think RJ's going to die? I think that's the furthest thing from my mind. I'm not saying that, that a child could not die on the show. I just don't think it makes good storytelling. I think that Michonne being able to protect one, I kind of get it. But Michonne, leaving because now she lost RJ, nah. And sometimes Walking Dead does sort of not steal a storyline, but they run a similar story. So we know that Maggie left, and Maggie's got baby Hershel, and she did kind of the same thing. Maybe Maggie wasn't running away from the Whispers, or she wasn't running away from a threat, but she needed to sort of take Hershel with her wherever she went. They're helping other communities, so it was just time to move on. But Michonne, I think, is going to be a little bit different. I think Michonne is going to see the writing on the wall and figure, look, these people can get to where they want to go. I got to get RJ out of here. Najee Watt says, possible RJ could be the only character to leave and return to the show at some point after. Very possible, Najee. I love that idea. I like that, whatever happens with Rick. And at RJ, I think RJ needs to meet his dad and will meet his dad. But I kind of got a feeling that Michonne's going to, wherever her and Rick reunite, I think it's going to be kind of the end of the line for Rick. And we'll get to see a little bit of that relationship before. Because they can't go on with Rick Grimes forever. No. RJ is not gone, everybody. Just table it. RJ is real. RJ is alive. RJ is, I think RJ is part of the reason why Michonne is not going to feel that she has to stay there and take care of everybody. And I don't think Michonne can take care of, Judith can kind of take care of herself, I guess. But why provide for two people when Judith is going to want to stay back? Keezy says Rick's got a new woman and a new kid by now. I think times past he could have. I don't think he will. I don't think they would write that into the story. And who knows if Rick even is fully aware of what's going on. Drama King. Drama King is just throwing Sadiq out there. Scott, I think I would tend to kind of go back with a little bit of what Najee says. And Scott Kernan super chatting says RJ can't leave. He's Rick's legacy to the viewers. He can be the legacy without us watching him grow up. I mean, we've seen that, right? And we don't really need. I don't think we need to see RJ grow up. RJ can kind of make a grand entrance. I mean, that's what they talked about with Rick. Like Rick could leave and Rick could come back. Well, how about we just take RJ off the show, let him go, learn from his dad or learn something. We got Judith, and then we'll bring him back later. He can be the legacy. Villar says Rick knows that his family thinks he's dead. He's trying to get back to them. Yeah, but Villar, you know as well as I do, it's not as simple as him just saying, let me go. There's going to be, I feel like it's going to be like experiments going on, a maze, people that don't want to let him go. There's going to be a lot of resistance. Could be an ocean. We don't even know where he's at. So think about all the challenges that Rick would have with no ways. He just can't, put in Google Maps and then end up getting back. So, and, it could be some underground facility as well. Scott, super chatting it up, says, Michonne leave until end of season 7, not first 5 episodes. Or I'm sorry, end of season 10. So, from what I've heard, no confirmation because they haven't filmed it yet, but she signed through next year, but it's not going to be very congruent. That her episodes are going to be kind of as needed. The story isn't really going to center around her. And, we always like to use the word flashbacks. Like, could it be flashbacks and, what happened with Michonne? I don't. What I think they're going to do is I think with Michonne, you're almost going to be running as 2 type of episodes. Bear with me for a minute. So, while the walk, and this I kind of learned from, the video game with Michonne becoming a pirate, is you've got this story that's happening in real time, and then you've got Michonne's story. And I think The Walking Dead next season is going to be the fight with the Whispers in full scale, but it's going to also be what pushes Michonne away, where it's kind of a prelude to her going out to find Rick. I don't think they're just going to say she's gone and then bam, then we see like this mini movie with Michonne. I think Michonne will be blended into it. Kind of like Negan's journey, but just a little bit more. You know how, like, last week we saw Negan sort of going through the motions? That could have went on for a couple of episodes. Scott says, handful of episodes doesn't have to be the first 5 episodes. No, not at all. It can certainly be intertwined throughout the story. Billy Underwood, if RJ gets shot, no. RJ cannot get shot. He could be taken. What about this as a possibility? A lot of times we look at our heroes and we say, Daryl has to fight because he's got all these people relying on him. Michonne, she's been a badass for so long, she's got to fight. What if RJ were taken and Michonne had to make a snap decision or a split decision of, what would you do? Let's kind of make it real for a moment. This is you. This is your kid. Your kid gets taken. Are you going to go rescue your kid, go take him back to the daycare, drop him off? I'll be back in a little bit. I got to go take care of some of these people. Or what if it's kind of, bam, bam. Something happens with RJ. She gets him back. She hits the road and gone. And because I think we're of the assumption that Michonne might be able to have this long, drawn-out conversation with Judith and make this decision of, well, it's best for Judith to stay behind because she's old enough to sort of take care of herself and partner with people and she'll be good. Or, do I take both of them? Do I take either one of them? What if she has to bolt and leave and there is no deciding? To me, that would be a much, much better story. Being forced in a situation where you got to choose left or right, grab the kid and go, and not have really time for goodbyes. Just checking out a couple comments here. Rick's films not back-to-back. No, but they don't have to be back-to-back. Because of the time skip, and I think that's what makes this work, that by the time Michonne is ready, Rick's going to be at a totally different place. Because, assumably, we're going to pick up the Rick story where, hey, we don't know. The one thing we don't know, regardless of where they film it, how they film it, we don't know what Rick's state of mind is going to be. And these stories do cross paths at some point. So we're going to get Rick 7 years earlier. See a little bit of the struggle, a little bit of the fight, a little bit of the people that took him, a little bit of, and then, maybe that's movie number 1. Then we get to movie number 2, the resistance. We also assume, as Villar said, that Rick is kind of making his way back to find his family. But part of that, honestly, is what we want to happen. We want Rick to be that fighter and go back. But there may be other things that he has to do. One more question for all of you guys, and I want you to think about this for a second. Why would Rick even assume that everybody's still alive? Let me let that sink in for a second. Scott, I think it's a good point. Rick's films could set up the end of the show, or they could run totally parallel to the show. Let's go back a little bit and put this into perspective to understand the Michonne. Julia Muse says Rick would not give up on his family. We know that Rick would never give up. Do we know that Rick is of a proper state of mind? Who knows that for sure? Rick was hallucinating. Rick could not tell the difference between who was real, what wasn't real. I mean, when he blew up the bridge, he kind of did a double take, like he kept seeing these people all along the way. The other thing is Rick has been gone to this point longer than the show has been in existence. That's a long time. Everything that you know about Rick up to this point, he's been gone longer than that. I understand, Gina, but just because he had blood loss and he got blood, we don't know what his current state of mind is. I think as fans and as viewers, we want to know that Rick holds sacred all the people on The Walking Dead. But Scott says, plot twist, he's watching them from the facility. Okay, well, let me play devil's advocate with everybody because I like to do that. Pete D, super chatting it up. What's up, Pete D? Thank you so much for being here on this Walking Dead Day, Sunday. We're about to get into some really deep, hardcore debate about Michonne leaving. We know Michonne's leaving. and we're trying to tie in some of the pieces. And as all of you know, Pete D loves Tara. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think Pete is going to like Tara tonight. Make sure you guys tune in. I'm going to leave it at that. Beverly Bullock says Rick could have amnesia. Okay. Rick has been taken. All right, that's where we're at, everybody. So don't read too much into this. Does Rick assume that all the saviors are alive? I mean, he wanted everybody to stay alive. He wanted all the groups to work together. Okay, but they're not. They're all dead. Right? Does Rick assume that Jesus is still alive? But he's not. Jesus is dead. Would Rick assume that Ezekiel's still alive, and Ezekiel could die, and Rosita could die, and Eugene could die, and the Whispers? Rick has no clue that there's even Whispers out there. Dark Stark says he knows the group could handle anything. Maybe, maybe not. So, A, we don't know what Rick's state of mind is. We don't know. I don't think Rick's watching or listening in or is all-knowing. Rick's gone. He knows nothing. So it's also safe to assume he can't assume anything. Rick doesn't even know he has a son. So the challenge this season, as we start to think about the movie and think about characters leaving, and I know it goes without saying, we know all of this, but we also have to know what Rick doesn't know. He was hallucinating. He had blood loss. We don't know what his state of mind is going to be. The bridge blew up. He was taken. We could see he was alive. We don't know what shape he's going to be in. We don't know how well he's going to heal. We don't know what he's going to remember. We don't know. Scott Kernan says, but what if he's watching possibly helicopters? What if, I can't say it without spoiling it, sorry. Hang on. What if he's been brainwashed for 7 years? And what if the Walking Dead movie is not about Rick going back finding his family? What if the Walking Dead movie is actually about different threats, different challenges, different people he has to bond with, different people he has to save? And we put the burden of getting to Rick on Michonne, not the burden of Rick getting back to the group. Because we don't know what the group, he doesn't know what is going to be left of the group. Sheila's like, not Rick. He wouldn't be able to be brainwashed. All right. For sake of argument, I'm just going to give you a wild scenario, just so we can kind of advance. Because if we don't, everybody is going to think that Rick is in Toledo, Ohio, or Rick is in Baltimore, Maryland, or Rick is in Virginia Beach, and he's just going to get on a truck and drive back. So I'm going to give another scenario in 1 second. Drama King says, the question is, what's keeping Rick from going back to find out? There you go. Thank you. That's what I want to drill down. Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it environmental? And any of those three could keep Rick from going back. Understand, though, Rick, according to everybody with access to the show, Rick is never going back to the show. So this is what's wrong with a lot of the theories that are out there, is Rick's going to make it back, and Rick's going to make it back. But he's probably not going to make it back because they said he was not coming back to the Walking Dead television show. Now, that to me says that there's going to be other challenges, other groups. It would be a shame if he forgot everything, but there are factors that could keep him from getting there. Ecom says, I thought Rick knew Michonne was pregnant. Wasn't there a scene where they said, let's have a kid? Well, yes, but that was the attempt, I guess, but that all happened within a couple days. There were no time skips. So certainly there was knowledge of it, but I don't think Rick's sitting back saying, man, I think I might have a son. I might have a daughter. I think he understands Judith. There's a lot of things that go into play here. Kimberly M. super chatting up. What's up, Kimberly? Thank you so much. Appreciate that. You guys are too much. Kimberly M. says, just supporting this amazing channel. All the super chatters, Ecom, Scott, Drama King, Valar, Pete D. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate the comments, the support, you guys being here, everything. It is an awesome Walking Dead day. But if we're going to funnel this down, right, then, a little bit of Ellis Smith, what he's agreeing with, a little bit of what Najee's agreeing with, a little bit of Drama King. None of us know. But we can look at whatever clues out there, and the problem with time skips, and it's always a problem whenever they skip time, is we forget what the characters know and what they don't know. So for sake of argument, Rick has been put on a helicopter and flown to an island in the Caribbean. Okay? So he's just not getting back. Let's just say he's just not getting back. All right, I want to see the reactions to that. So the challenges are now twofold. One, how can he make it? Number two, how could Michonne get to him, if that is the story? But that's only one story. Because in the last 7 years, since Rick has been gone, we got RJ. We got people walking around in faces. Maggie has left to go help elsewhere. Maybe it took Rick 6 months to heal, but Rick has not made it back in 6.5 years. Donnie Thompson. Rick has not made it back in 6.5 years. What makes you think he's going to get back in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th? How long does it take Rick Grimes to get back? Here, let's take a survey. How long does it take Rick Grimes to find his family? You guys want to give me the 12th year, 13th year? After 7 years, doesn't it feel a little bit more like never? How about that? Scott Kernan. You think of the Maggie spinoff Gimple is writing. If it happens, and if people buy into it. "999 years," says Najee Watts. And Colleen Hayes, I think you hit it perfectly. He won't, since he's not coming back to the show. It's not happening, everybody. So how many... Now, here's a better question. See, this is where it makes sense. It's been 7 years, and Rick has not shown his face. Michonne has had no clues. So if Michonne had clues in the last 7 years, she would have been going further and further out. This is where I want to get to the Michonne RJ exit theory, okay? How long has Michonne seriously been looking for Rick? It's a trick question. Got Scott Kernan. Kang has written a version. Cohen returns. Yes, Cohen returns to the show. Possible spinoffs. Both of those are options. And neither one could happen as well. A lot of it depends on Whiskey Cavalier. Here's why it's a trick question. Michonne has not been looking for Rick. I know I'm going to get a collective sigh like, what? No. She's been looking for a little bit of proof, memories of Rick, hope, all of those things. No. Daryl hasn't been either, Wilson. Hang on. Stick with me for a second. They haven't been looking for Rick. They've been looking for clues, and they found none. When they get a clue, when they get something solid, when there is a reason, then the journey begins. So don't count these first 7 years, because it's just been keeping the dream alive. When we get solid proof, when we get something from Negan, when we get something from Jadis, when we get something from Father G, then it's going to be like, I got to find him. He was taken. Now there's a reason. Now there's hope. Now there's a mission. There has not been a mission up to this point. There's been, give me a little bit of proof. When they get the proof is when the journey begins. Rick hasn't made it back in 7 years, but Michonne might be able to find Rick in a year and a half, which tells me Rick is not coming back because he hasn't came back at this point, but Michonne hasn't really tried. If Michonne takes RJ and she's got something to kind of keep her going, a little bit of evidence, then I'll give you that. Then I'll say Michonne is going to find her family. She's going to find her man, not Rick is trying to get back to find his family, because I don't think that's the story in the movie. Got a couple super chats to catch up on with Scott Kernan. Well, Gimple's writing the version she does not, and Maggie could return with Rick. Once again, I think they're totally different storylines, Scott. I think Maggie is with Georgie, and that's a totally different story, and I think Rick is with a different group that is going to be made for movies. I don't think Maggie's story with Georgie is made for movies. I think Georgie's storyline is made for the TV show. And the bigger issue right now, current state of mind on the TV show. As of this week, tell me who's looking for Rick Grimes. William Finney, Super Chat, says, think Rick will upset if they reunited. She says she's left Judith behind. It depends on the situation. That's why I think the whispers are so important. You know, if you get something, if you get Michonne forced out and she can't go back, then it's a little different scenario. And I think Judith can take care of herself. Nobody is looking for Rick. That's the answer to the question. You know why? Because the whispers are in town. The whispers are making this very difficult. The hunt for Rick is officially over. He's not, Scott. Nobody's looking for Rick. You know what Daryl's doing? Daryl's trying to figure out who's about to kill them. The legend of Rick Grimes has been taken off the show as of the Whisperer War. Now, it's going to take some proof. It's going to take, and there's going to be a little bit more time. This is the distraction that the show needed for us. It's a distraction the show needed for the characters. And if they survive the Whisperer War, say if, we assume they will, but you never know. Michonne and Rick's paths could cross, but I really think the Rick Grimes story is a brand new story, completely independent of the TV show at this point. He is in a different place. He's in a different state, could be in a different state of mind. Hey, let me throw something else out there. Lakeisha Faison says, won't someone ask what happened to Anne? Maybe they'll show search and flashbacks. All right. Each of you, and I'm going to close this stream very shortly as the Michonne RJ exit theory, because it is tied to Rick Grimes. Each of you are on a helicopter. You've just been saved. There was an explosion. You are Rick Grimes in the Walking Dead movie. You were choppered out. You come to, you wake up, and you say, where am I? Where's my family? And as the doctor, I say to you, they didn't make it. But I shot. The bridge exploded. It's too late. The walkers, there were too many of them. They killed everyone. They killed your family. Daryl, Michonne, they're all gone. That's it. There you go. No sense to go back. No sense to spend 7 years. It's time to move on, Rick. There's your story. Well, you know what? Whether he believes it or whether he doesn't believe it, what's the point of having him distracted, trying to escape and look for his family when he doesn't know where he is? And Jill's like, Rick's smarter than that. Well, he ain't that damn smart, Julia, because it's been 7 years he hasn't found his family. How smart can he be? He ain't going to find him on the 8th. Done. Gone. Walking Dead movie. Moving on. All right, everybody. Having a lot of fun with this. This is Walking Dead Day. I appreciate story time. So, hey, I'm not going to say the paths won't cross, but let's just not expect it on the TV show. I do think Negan, Father G, there's going to be something that's going to trigger Michonne, and I do think it's going to be a grab and go. She's going to have to pick up RJ, hit the road. The Whisperers are a big threat. We're going to find it out tonight. A lot of things working in the Walking Dead universe, and I enjoy getting together with each and every one of you talking about it. Can't wait for the movie to see how they do that. But we know there's a lot of brainwashing that goes on in the Walking Dead. But Michonne and RJ, I do think they're going to make it their quest to try to find him. Now, what do you guys think? Really quick, last point to this, as Michonne leaves with RJ, what if they do find Rick? And let's say, Michonne has a boat, she gets a few clues, she knows where they're at. What kind of Rick Grimes does she find? Does she find a Rick Grimes that remembers? Does she find a Rick Grimes that is out there doing good? What do you think? And I do think they will unite for at least a little bit of time. Leave your thoughts and comments of what you think and how that will play out. Hey, listen back to the playback. We have a lot of fun. Beast mode, crazy Rick Grimes. I would love that. We need that, right? Rick went through a lot emotionally. Savage Rick Grimes, yeah, I'm hoping for that too. All right, and we've hit 34 minutes. Hey, thanks everybody. This is our first stream of the day. If you guys could do me a favor, get over to our 999 Gaming channel at 3 o'clock. We're starting All Out War. It's going to be a live comic read. Well, live. It's already read, but I'm going to be hanging out with you guys. That'll be 3 o'clock. Those of you that want to talk spoilers, at 5 o'clock, we'll be on the 999 Army channel. We're going to go through this week's episode. It'll be a quicker version than the one we did earlier in the week. We went an hour long, line by line. We're going to talk about a few things we're looking forward to. Then if you guys want to do the countdown, back here at 8 o'clock tonight. It's kind of our hype show, getting ready for the show. And then, of course, we will do the reaction at 10:10. You're not going to want to miss that. Those are always kind of the real fun, the real shocking ones. Tonight will be a very heavy episode, though. So just be prepared for it. Like I said, no spoilers in today's chat, but it is going to be a little bit moving, and there's going to be some real-life stuff that are going to hit us all. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate all the patrons being here. You guys are awesome. All the sponsors as well. The moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. The super chatters were in full effect today. We got, who all do we have super chatting? Valar, Scott Kernan with a ton of information, Pete D as well, Drama King throwing it out there, Ecom, Kimberly M showing her support, William Finney, Lakeisha. Lakeisha with super chat said, won't someone ask what happened to Anne? Maybe they'll show search in flashbacks. So Lakeisha, I think that is, I overlooked her super chat. Sorry about that. But I think that is a good point, is, you know, what happened. There's still some people we don't know what happened to everybody. We don't know what happened to Sherry. We're going to get the Dwight story. We're going to get, we're still wondering about Heath and a few other people. So looking forward to it. Thank you so much. You guys had a good time. Then do me a favor. Hit that like button. If you're new, subscribe and hang out with us all throughout the week. My name's